I'm very proud of the roles that I've gotten.
Mhm.
My very first role was Days of Our Lives, like contract role, Days of Our Lives, where I wasn't a stereotypical Asian American. I was a very well-rounded character. So I was an original character, a legacy character on Days of Our Lives, a 50-year running show. I was original character, a legacy character on Hawaii Five-O, and I was an original character and a legacy character on Star Wars.
Mhm.
All of which I was very well-rounded characters, had a strong storyline, and all of which have been going 40 or 50 plus years. So to have original characters on such legendary shows, I believe is opening more doors for Asian Americans to continue to be able to have those opportunities, to be legacy characters, to have well-rounded characters, to not
And
feel
protagonists too, like in Star
and good
Wars.
guys. Yeah, good guys.
Yeah.
And bad guys. But I mean, like, again, the most important thing is that they're well-rounded characters.
Mhm. They have depth.
They've got that. Exactly. They got depth.
Yeah.
You don't typically get strong storyline. You don't typically get like legacy, like as in family, like you have a father and a daughter. You don't have that type of thing going on many of these large series. Typically as Asian Americans are like, you're going to get a bowl haircut. You're going to say something about the homeland and that's it. So I'm very, very proud of those accomplishments, those achievements. And that's the foundation of my career, essentially.
Yeah, that's huge because it happens a lot where the Asian characters get like one line or like they have an accent and then it's like, okay, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
And then Star Wars Resistance. So on the side, I actually tutor and I have a 7th grader and I told him about you, how I was going to be speaking with you. And I showed the image of Star Wars Resistance and the character's Asian and you're Asian. And I could just see the look in his eyes and he was like, oh, cool. Like it really got to him. Like it was really nice to see. Yeah, that's awesome that you have quite a variety of roles that you've taken on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying, like, honestly, I just, at this point in my career, I'm still pretty new. I'm still, like, not many people know me. You say, oh, Christopher Sean. They're like, huh? Who? It's a white boy name. He's not Asian. And I'm like, no, I'm mixed. But yeah, I'm in a position in my career where I'm proud of the accomplishment I have. Like I said, Days of Our Lives was a gay baseball player, right? Hawaii Five-O was a cop killer. Star Wars Resistance is a bumbling hero. So completely different roles.
Yeah.
And the idea is I want a career very similar to if you get like a Tom Hanks, you kind of know you're getting a Tom Hanks movie, right? Right. But if you do a Brad Pitt movie, you're kind of like, what are we going to get? We don't know. Like a Tom Hardy movie, you don't know what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So I want something like that in my career, like something where people don't know what they're going to get.
Nice. Yeah, diversify your own portfolio and have a range.
Hey, all right.
I do feel that like some actors, they pretty much play themselves, which is kind of maybe what they go for. But
you know what? In a world, I just posted about this. It's E.E. Cummings that said, in a world that's fighting to make you change to be something that they want you to be, just to be yourself is a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
Is an accomplishment in itself. So, the idea that to get on camera in the most competitive business in the entire world, and you get to play a role that you're so suited for, which is yourself, great, awesome, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
The success rate for anybody to be on camera is like less than 1% or some crazy thing like that. That's a skewed number. It's 3.7%. Last time I checked, was a study from 2016, I believe. 3.7% of any contracted actor on television, primetime series, is mixed, not mono-ethnic Asian, just mixed Asian American, like myself. So less than 4% of working people in the entertainment industry on contract, not guest stars or co-stars, but like signed, is less than 4%. So 3.7%. That's last I remember. So for me, it's like you got to give a double. Not like at the audition, you got to give a gold medal performance. At the callback, a gold medal performance. At the network test, you have to take everyone else out, so
Yeah.
there's no competition. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, never do that. Never do that.
There's no business like show business. Okay, it's right. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just curious what you think. Like, do you think recently there have been more roles opening up for Asian and Asian American actors in Hollywood? Or do you feel that, from your perspective, is pretty much consistent?
Yes, I do believe that the doors are opening up more for Asian Americans, because we're finally in a position now where we're the fastest growing diverse population. 46%, I believe, growth on averages to all the other ethnicities. Asian Americans are the fastest growing, 46% growth, and I believe it was this year. I just read about it. So we want to have that match our on screen, right? Like I said, we're only 3.7% visible mixed Asian American. Monoethnic, I believe, is like 6%, 7%, not much higher. So we want to match our numbers in American population
with the demographic. Yeah.
Yeah, so that ratio. And now more than ever, we're starting to realize that it is possible as Asian Americans. Like as a parent, I'm a stepdad to 3 amazing children. As a parent, as parents are, as the generations continue on, most of our families, they're not like, oh, acting is bad. No, they're just like, there's no money in acting. It's humiliating for us as people. Like, there's no depth in characters, therefore it's humiliating. As secondly, there's no money, because you're not going to be successful. You're going to get these guest star roles or these co-star one-liners where you have to, again, get a bowl haircut, talk about the home country, and get fired off the show. Nowadays, it's not that way. And nowadays, kind of like what I was explaining earlier, on Days of Our Lives, I had a very well-rounded character, a legacy character, where he wasn't just a Japanese baseball player. He was actually a gay baseball player who had a past, who's looking for a future, who's got a mother, who's got a grandfather, who deals with the shame. The storyline was very well-rounded and very deep. So those opportunities weren't around for a very long time. So again, like that, this is where we're starting to see more representation on camera, because of the fact that roles that are being written, that I get to play, that other people like myself or Asian Americans that are getting to play, they're seeing success, they're seeing opportunity, they're seeing money. Finally, we're getting paid equal. Like Bruce Lee was not getting paid equal when he was working back in the day. He was getting paid extra work compared to the other people on the show. It was Green Hornet, I believe. Excuse me. So again, the pay disparities, and also, believe me, that trend is still there, but it's finally being broken because people like Daniel Day Kim and Grace Park are speaking up. They're fighting for change. So because they're doing that, it's allowing for more opportunity like myself, more opportunity like yourselves to get in front of camera, again, for our parents, for their parents, excuse me, to see that there is opportunity, there is success. We don't have to only be doctors or scientists or lawyers. My mom constantly tells me, my mom's Japanese. My mom would say, Mom, I was pre-nominated for an Emmy. I'm on a primetime hit show. I'm on daytime television. I'm doing so many great things. Yeah, but do you have an Academy Award? I'm like, oh my God, it's never good enough, right? It's never good enough. She's like, go be a doctor. You can still go take your, go be yeah, go get your helicopter license. Be smart. I'm like, there's nothing to fall back on. This is my life.
Yeah. And you're making it. And I think Star Wars Resistance is nominated for an Emmy, right?
We are nominated for an Emmy, yes.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's not me. That's the team, man. That's Justin Ridge, Brandon Auman, Athena Portillo. That's Dave Filoni. I mean, all the huge genius people behind Star Wars Resistance. I am such a small piece to the puzzle. I'm a mere cog in the machine that is Star Wars. They're beautiful, man.
I mean, they may have written the show and everything, but yeah, you're the main character, and that's huge for Asian Americans and huge for you. So that's really exciting to see.
And as I continue to, like, I've always been I like growing up, my mom would send me to school with onigiri, tuna rice balls, chicken katsudon, and I'm eating Japanese food, and kids are eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I was like, I don't feel like I fit in. You want to trade, so I never felt like I fit in. But meeting these groups, I've realized so many people have the same stories. There is obviously there's competition everywhere you go. There's some people that will be extremely competitive and will always try and undermine you, sadly. And that's no matter where you go. However, in this community, it is more of a friendship, more of a family, we have a unifying enemy. And that enemy is stereotypes that is classic media. And so we're all unifying to break that, which is really, really cool and exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have seen that. I went to California right before the pandemic and met with Cape.
Michelle Sugihara?
No,
Yes, Jew?
Jessica. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really care a lot about the community, and it's clear to see.
I'm blown away by what those two ladies do. They do so much. It's similar to you, actually. They started it up, and now they're here with Kamala Harris and Bing Chen and so many amazing names. I remember going to a Cape event when I first came out to LA, and I was like, oh, I'm so uncomfortable, so nervous to be here. But it was so welcoming and loving, and it was like networking with like there's an A-list actor right there, and oh my God, like I was blown away. And it was such a community, and they made me feel so comfortable, like I said. So I just want to continue to enrich that community and give back as much as I possibly can.
Hey, we really appreciate it, and I think like filmmakers, up and coming filmmakers who are Asian Americans appreciate it too. So yeah, it's great that filmmakers give back, like Cape, you, and other Asian American filmmakers. For audience members who do want to help, support other Asian Americans and other people of color, do you have any advice or recommendations on how they may be able to help?
I mean, the biggest thing is being aware, right? Raising awareness. Because if you don't know there's a problem, how can anything be fixed? Mm-hmm. So being aware that the ratio of Asian Americans in film is very low. Asian Americans in politics is very low. The ratio of Asian Americans being seen, Asian Americans being called stereotypes is very high. Like, again, all these issues that are there, you have to be aware of them first and foremost. So those who are aware, spread the information. Social media is a huge advocate of ours. It's a huge tool of ours to then become an advocate, to continue to push forward Asian American virtues and successes, to break down barriers again. Another thing is to support people like Incluvie. Is that proper?
Yep, Incluvie. The startup Incluvie. Yep.
So Incluvie, raising awareness for companies like Incluvie that are, again, raising awareness for Asian Americans and success for Asian Americans. Mm-hmm. Raising awareness of actors like Daniel Dae Kim, who are supporting the community. I mean, when I was on Hawaii Five-0 with him, I asked him questions like, what's your acting technique? Am I allowed to ask you that? And he's like, I've never talked about that with anyone. He's like, let's talk about it. And we talked acting. So I was like literally getting acting classes from a legend. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But it's like, having an opportunity like that, like most people who are in competition with actors, they're like, no, I'm not going to help you, kid, but he is a guiding light in this entertainment industry. He's a mentor to so many, and he's providing so many opportunity. Look at The Good Doctor, Hawaii Five. He's got project after project that are lining up and coming out. Mm-hmm. Lost, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, his list of accomplishments are huge. And again, it's supporting those actors that are doing more for the community, not just for themselves. Mm-hmm. Because there are those actors, again, that are not doing anything other than it's all about me, numero uno. And it's like, no, bro, like that's where you have no foundation. You're walking
Yeah.
on stilts. You know, soon you will fall with just a simple gust of breeze. Raising awareness, using your social media to continue to do that, to help people be aware. It's supporting those people who are advocates, because every one of us need that support. We need somebody. We're human beings. We have insecurities. We
Yeah.
have our down days. We have lacks of motivation spikes constantly. But to have somebody say, because of you, I was inspired to continue forward, it's like, boom, motivation kicks right in, and you're like, that's right, I got to keep pushing. I got people who rely on me. And it's in those moments where you're like, yeah, I'm good. You know, so support those people who are doing things for you, who are opening more roads. I'm going in circles. I'm sorry. It's too much.
No, it's okay. And yeah, it is like, it has been difficult because acting is competitive and there aren't, like, as you said earlier, too many roles for Asian American. But as those doors keep opening and they become more and more roles, yeah, like hopefully people can feel they can be less competitive and more people like you can, yeah, like help understand that it's okay to pave the way for others and also have success. It's not one or the other.
Well, kind of like your little boy Wes, right?
Mm-hmm.
For him to see an Asian American in a Star Wars franchise, right? Like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then you don't know the psyche of what's going on behind his mind to think, wow, he kind of looks like me. Can I do that? Am I possible? And then it raises that, you know, that level, that standard of living where he's like, maybe I can live at that level. Maybe I can do those things. Maybe I can be the leader of my own story rather than the sidekick. Maybe I can be a CEO rather than a janitor. Because again, however you're viewed in society is what typically the standards that you will live by, right? And if you're not viewed at all, what are those standards?
Yeah, it's true. It's like how others see you, but also how you perceive yourself. And it may not be articulated in so many words as a kid, but you really start to like see those possibilities open up.
Absolutely. Because if I ask you questions like, what makes you an amazing journalist or what makes you an amazing worker, your mind will naturally answer, you know, it's like a deck of cards. It goes, blah, 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 all these answers, positive, right? So with the right question, you get the right answers, all of them. But with the wrong questions, like, are you Chink or are you Jap or whatever? Like, I got a story with that. But
Oh, no.
you know, like
Yeah.
with negative words and negative reinforcement, soon enough you start to like answer those questions constantly. And if you're constantly answering those negative questions of who am I, where do I fit in, or why am I supposed to fit these stereotypes, or why is my mom not the same as all these other American peanut butter jelly sandwiches? Why am I getting onigiri? Like, then you start to question even your value to society, which is a detriment to your psychology. So again, when we normalize Asian American, when we normalize that America is a melting pot where we're all immigrants, and Native Americans were the indigenous natives, they were here first, and we're all immigrants, then we realize that we're all normal here. We'll all fit in. This is America, you know?
Yeah,
So,
identity is huge.
yeah, so ask the right questions, because if you ask the wrong questions, your psyche starts to fill with the negative deck of cards constantly. And it's like, if I say, why do you suck? Your brain goes, duh, 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 and even without subconsciously, it just answers it. So to be around negative, to be surrounded by negative, to be depicted negatively, and it just subconsciously, it just answers that and fills your mind constantly with negative. Push positive motive, you know, in Asian American standard, we raise that bar of excellence.
Totally agree.
I have 2 huge projects being announced very soon. I can't say anything about them. I am the lead of one of them.
Okay.
It is a huge project. Very, very excited. I just booked another project, which is another huge project. We start filming in September. I can't talk about that. But currently, you know, I've got the comic, which we are polling to continue developing, but we're going to make that into a television series, actually.
Okay.
And yeah, it's going to be huge. If not an animation, then a live action adaptation. But it's so good. Everything I'm doing right now is kind of all NDAs, non-disclosure, so I'm not allowed to talk about any of it, but I'm so excited about all of it.
Okay. And once you are allowed to talk about it, once it gets to that phase, I'm sure you'll be posting it about it, right, on your social media.
Oh, believe me, I think
Yeah.
on the 23rd or the 22nd, I might be able to talk about some of the projects that are being announced. I don't know if I'm going to be announced with the project, or if they're just going to do a little teaser video of it. But I'm hoping to get back in front of the camera, not just like for now. It's been a lot of animation and performance capture and voiceover, um,
Is it due to
because
your own choice or like coronavirus?
it's
Or,
coronavirus.
mhm.
Coronavirus. Also, most of the stereotypes that still fill, well, I could be wrong about this. I believe that Hollywood is still looking for like petite Asian men, not strong. I could be wrong,
Oh.
but I'm a pretty big guy, you know, because I'm also half white. So many times when I go into auditions, they're like, "Ah, you're too big. You're not Asian enough," or whatever it may
Oh
be.
no.
Yeah. So I'm not. I mean, I've always had the cards stacked against me. Like when I went for Days of Our Lives, I had to go against all diversity. So Black, Latin
Oh my
American,
goodness.
and
Yeah.
Asian. I think they said I beat out almost 10,000 people for that role.
Wow.
I want to get the exact number, but I know that it was thousands.
Super
And
competitive. My goodness.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
came down to me, this black gentleman, and then a Cuban, a Cuban gentleman.
So they
Excuse
didn't
me.
even, it wasn't specifically an Asian role. It was like a person of color role that they
That's
wrote.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
POC. They were literally looking for diversity. The breakdown was anyone non-white, you know, non-white character, baseball player, come in, you know. And so the doors were wide open, and it's always been that way for me. So, like I said, I have to put out an Olympic gold medal performance in the audition, in the callback, in the producer session, in the network test. Like every single time, I cannot allow the stresses of my own mind to beat me, because then I've already lost to
Mhm.
to the white man or whomever else is. I mean, the roles for Asian American are so small
And it's too
that
bad that for the main roles, that it's assumed that it's going to be a white actor, you know, that you can't automatically compete for like the leading role of Days of Our Lives, you know? Yeah.
well,
Unless it's
it's
written.
ensemble cast. Days of Our Lives is ensemble, so there's multiple stories. My goal is to continue to pave paths, follow in the footsteps of a Daniel Day Kim, and then branch off and you know, take the path not traveled and make it a very commercial way where people like myself have role models and continue to open more doors for Asian Americans.
Mhm. Yeah, that's one of the reasons we chose you to reach out to. Like we were looking at your Instagram and your work, and yeah, like you seem to care a lot about diversity. And seeing our Instagram page, like we're not big right now, we're just a small startup. But we thought maybe you would be more amenable or approachable to reaching out to because you do care so much.
I appreciate you guys.